what changes everything is your response. Shifting out of that reactivity into a conscious response. And the response needs to be a little bit different depending on whether you're dysregulated or you're experiencing sensitization, a sensitized nervous system. Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Ray, just sitting on my terrace, hoping I can record this before the sun gets too hot. So I wanted to do a post about the difference between dysregulated and sensitized. This is important. It's important in the way that you respond to what it is you're experiencing. And I talk a lot about that. I encourage people to be in the body, to be present. But when you're sensitized, this can be extremely challenging. And so how you respond is really important. Response is important because we want to shift out of that reactivity into a conscious response. Shift out of that disconnect into reconnecting. We want to shift out of that being out of the body, dissociating, and coming back into the body, being present. Essentially, it's about being present, but it's also about how you respond rather than react to your experience. And in stress, we're in a reactive state. We may have been in that state for years. And so to change everything and to start to heal, we need to start to consistently shift out of that reactivity into a conscious response. So dysregulation, you would start by coming into the body, bringing your awareness to whatever it is you're experiencing, where you're experiencing, using touch, bringing your hands to your body, being very present, bringing your awareness to your experience. As we're doing that, as soon as we're focusing the mind in an intentional way, the brain, the nervous system, takes that as safety, as presence. And if we do that consistently over time, that's going to start to change the way that the body responds to your presence, to that conscious response. But a sensitized nervous system doesn't respond to that in the same way. You need to think of that frightened animal who's perhaps been traumatized in some way and won't let you anywhere near it. It's so terrified or so reactive. And what do we do around a terrified animal, a frightened animal, is that we become very still. Okay, and this is what we need to do. If you have a sensitized nervous system and you're feeling that in the body, that hyperreactivity, that fear, essentially, the first thing that you can do to shift out of that reactivity into a conscious response is to become very still, to become very present. That takes a little bit of courage and practice, I know, because that fear state can feel very overwhelming, very challenging, very frightening. But as you start to become still, what you're doing again, and this is really critical, is you're shifting out of that reactivity where you're completely taken up mentally, emotionally, and physically by that fear state, by that sensitized nervous system, and how that affects everything, again, physically, mentally, emotionally. You're shifting out of that reactivity into a conscious response, even if that conscious response is simply stillness, presence, essentially. And not needing to force yourself to be in the body or feel a certain thing or bring your focus of attention to anything. Again, it's like that frightened animal. We don't want to make sudden movements. We don't want to create more fear. So becoming very still is perhaps the most helpful response. And even if you're incredibly overwhelmed and feeling all of this discomfort in the body, in the nervous system, we are able to become still and to observe. Okay, we are able to become present. But we don't need to do anything. The presence is enough. And I say this so many times in the 6-week Alchemy of Stress and these posts on YouTube. Your presence is enough. Your presence is powerful. And that is a shift out of that reactivity where you're being pulled into all of that fear and overwhelm. And simply being present, being still, creates that sense of safety. You're not trying to force that frightened animal, your nervous system, into doing anything. You're just allowing your presence to be enough, your presence to be calming. And again, that's teaching the nervous system something new. Trust, building trust. You're not going to do anything to force yourself, your nervous system. You're not going to run away. You're not going to abandon yourself. You're not going to try and get away from all that discomfort. You're simply going to be still. You become the calm in the storm until the storm passes. And perhaps it feels like, the storm doesn't pass initially. But again, it's that frightened animal. It doesn't immediately give you its trust. It takes time. It takes consistency. And so this is the difference between dysregulation and a sensitized nervous system. And again, it's that shifting out of reactivity into a conscious response. How do you respond to yourself? How do you respond to your experience? What are you observing? Sensitized nervous system is going to need a little bit more patience, a little bit more space, and stillness is enough. Your presence is enough. And so this is really important. Helpful if you're experiencing either dysregulation or sensitized nervous system, and how you start to create change, how you start to heal. And if you're going to do the 6-week Alchemy of Stress, because this is what somebody asked, if you have a sensitized nervous system, don't go straight into bringing your focus to the discomfort in your body. Don't go straight into bringing your hands to your heart center or to wherever you're feeling overwhelmed or reactive, frightened, where that fear state is creating discomfort. And give yourself time. Be present, be still. Allow that fear in your nervous system to start to subside over time as you build trust, because really this is what it's about. You're starting to become the safety, to create the safety, to rebuild the trust where that trust was broken at whatever time, whatever age, because it's something that's been repeated time and time again. As we learn to be in that reactive state, it's not safe. We keep on reacting, we keep on forcing or running away, abandoning, all of these patterns. Again, I talk about these in the 6-week Alchemy of Stress. What changes everything is your response. Shifting out of that reactivity into a conscious response. And the response needs to be a little bit different depending on whether you're dysregulated or you're experiencing sensitization, a sensitized nervous system. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. It's getting really hot here, so I'm going to have to go. I hope this was helpful, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next post.